Got 152 yards. Should be just a nice, comfortable 9-iron for him. They're going to go nuts when he hits this thing.
That's dirt.
Yo, yo, yo. Ladies and gentlemen, people of the age of 18 who are degenerate golf bettors like myself and my guests, welcome into the program this evening. This is the Preferred Lines podcast and live stream. My name is Joe Idoni. At Tour Picks is a place you can find me on X, and I'm absolutely thrilled that you would join us for this show covering the 2025 CJ Cup Byron Nelson. Strange name for a tournament, just throwing two names together like that, but we're going to go with it. The tour's going with it. Excited to have you here. We'll recap a little bit of the Zurich. We'll get to know our guests a little bit. We'll talk the significance or lack of significance of Joaquin Niemann's accomplishments over on Live Tour. And then we'll shift gears, preview the event this week where it appears to be Scottie Scheffler versus the world. More on that in just a minute. As always, this show is proudly brought to you by the good folks over at Rotoballer. My top 10 power rankings is available on rotoballer.com. You click the PGA tab on the top. You actually don't even need a sub. I shouldn't be saying this. That article is 100% free of charge. You can get my top 10 power rankings. More to come later in the week that is behind that paywall. But good news for you. You can use that promo code LINES, LINES, to get you 10% off any monthly, weekly, annual sub. You've got people maybe less serious takes on stuff and more of gut plays like myself, and you've got maybe the most analytical mind in all of golf betting in Spencer Aguiar. Good evening, Joanne. Good evening, Ted. Good to see you guys here as always. Kyle says collab of the century. Thank you, Mr. Kyle, for joining the program this evening. We'll bring the guest up here in just a second. Whether you are a regular of this program or seasoned golf bettors, or just someone who's here for a little CJ Cup action this week, welcome. As always, I'm thrilled that you chose a few minutes to support the show. I hope that you enjoy it. If you do, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Really kind of making a push and pleading with you guys to kind of get my numbers up over there, as hopefully some big things that I'll be able to announce in the next couple of weeks that are on the horizon, as a new era of Preferred Lines is hopefully shortly upon us. In the meantime, the quickest way to support the show, there is a link in the bio. I can tell you it's the easiest and least convoluted way for you to support me and everything that we do each and every week. Go buy a shirt. They're high quality tees, comfort colors, heavyweight cotton tees. The best news about it, you get a tangible, hopefully well-designed product. I put together all the designs myself with my own brain, my own hands, my own little mouse clicking there in Adobe Illustrator. But the bottom line is 100% of all the profits go to supporting this show, making it better, keeping it rolling. That's the good stuff. Link in the bio over there to check out the little shop that we put together. We got some hoodies, we got some crew necks, we got major tees, all kind of good stuff. You want Preferred Lines gear, I love you for it. Go get it. All right. Without further ado, it's time to bring on the guest. I'm super pumped about this one because I've seen him on multiple of my friends' shows. I think that he's got an awesome personality. He's got an awesome demeanor. He's got a comedic tone to all the content that he does. Welcome into Preferred Lines for the very first time. Degen, how are you this Monday evening? You ready to talk some golf?
Wow. Well, thank you very much. And yes, I am excited to talk some golf. And I also saw you on our mutual golf Twitter friends podcast, Brian Kirshner. What is it called? Tap In Birdie. You were on, was it in March or was it last month?
TIV, baby. I don't know, because I just had him on like 2 weeks ago, and I think I was on with him a couple of weeks before that. Brian and I have kind of been regulars each and every season on each other's programs. I feel like we have a similar vibe to our shows and maybe a little less serious, try to make it a little fun, bring on a guest each and every week. He went live earlier. Happy to have you join us tonight and get to know you a little better.
Likewise. Great to be here. Thank you.
So you've amassed a pretty large following. I got to say, it's impressive, man. You're on there with the live board reviews. You bet all sports. Betting segments always do well. Just tell me how and when, just to kind of get to know you a little more, when did this whole process of becoming and morphing into the degenerate start, and how has it gone for you?
So I'm 37 years old. I've been betting on sports since I was 18. So I guess now that puts it over half my life. I've been a diehard sports fan since I was, I don't know, 5, 6 years old. I'm from Florida, Central Florida. So the Orlando Magic, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, et cetera. And then, I think probably around COVID, when everything shut down, I work in real estate. You couldn't do anything. So I started just, fucking around. Can you curse on this show, by the way?
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Okay. So, yeah, I just started fucking around on Twitter. I've been a big Twitter guy for a long time. And so I made the account, and my buddy and I started a newsletter. He was more into, he's a big reader, and he was familiar with like Substack and everything. And he's like, oh, we should get into this, writing our thoughts, our analysis, whatever. We're not like super smart guys. We're just, average idiots who love to gamble. And so we started doing the newsletter while at the same time I was like simultaneously trying to push this Twitter account. But I don't know how long you've been on Twitter. I followed you for quite some time, but getting followers on Twitter is one of the hardest things to do. Yeah. So, I mean, it's no easy feat, but yeah, I'd say probably I've really been pushing it for like 3 years. And it's just, I started to video myself talking, like going over the board every day. Because we couldn't just keep it to a newsletter in football. There's so many things to bet on at all times throughout the year. And I got into golf, right before COVID too, and I just fell in love with it. But yeah, so I started to review the board and was filming myself. And then was like, people were telling me about Twitch streams, and obviously we synced it up to YouTube and Twitter. So I've just been sticking with it every day, and it's great. So, but again, golf has been like this like secret to me, and I think to a lot of sports bettors, to where it's like, yeah, I don't know, like I don't really watch it, I don't really follow it. I'm trying to educate people and inform them. Betting on golf and sweating golf is one of, if not the best out there in the sports world.
Top tier sweat, without a doubt about that. Like what you kind of touched on something, how it's like hard to gain this following, and you've got to kind of, and like I started around COVID too, and you've got to kind of hope for. And you don't even know when it's coming. Sometimes some of my worst stuff just pops on. I had no idea, and it kind of goes viral. I know that you've had a few of those moments, but like from what I've gathered, just being consistent, being reliable, having that sort of comedic tone where you can be knowledgeable yet self-deprecating, and like producing this content. Like one of the things I did early on was just this lunchtime long shot segment where I just basically was on my lunch break at a real job, sat in my car while I'm eating a public sub, and I'm taking a video of myself talking about long shots. And I think that sometimes like stuff gets too overproduced in gambling content with all these shows, and more or less just you in a home office, in your kitchen, same background, be reliable, be able to form a connection between you and the audience is kind of what hits home and allows people to continue to follow you and like support what you do. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would absolutely agree with that. I think that people take themselves too seriously. And, for the longest time growing up, you watch ESPN or SportsCenter, and they used to even be a little bit more laid back and joke around with things. And then all of a sudden kind of lost that. And it was a little bit too serious. And then it got just, you couldn't even take it seriously. And then are you familiar with VSiN, the Vegas Sports Information Network?
Yes.
Yeah, so I've been listening to that like religiously for, 8 years now. And there was like, okay, like they're a little bit older heads, which is fine. I gravitated towards that. And then you have like the Barstool, which kind of catered to like the frat bro. But there was really, I couldn't find like any good in between, Yeah. So that's why I was like, well, sports betting is just now legal. There's such a big market for this and for people to talk about it. I mean, everyone's on their phones all day. They got AirPods in all day. They just want to listen to sports. I feel like there's an opportunity for, just like normal down to earth people like us, like talking about sports and betting on it. And it's been great. I'm glad to see that there's a following coming from it because I really do. What's better than like connecting with people that you share a similar interest with. And also when you meet people that are smarter than you and you get a whole different perspective on how to bet the particular sport, or like strategies or angles. And that's what I'm learning every week about golf, every month about golf, because I've just been like a gut plums feel guy. And now I'm learning about tee to green.
Yeah.
These strokes gained, all this shit. 3-4 years ago, I never heard about this stuff. So it's fascinating. But yeah,
I think there's
I'm very into it.
100% like a balance there with golf. Like I'll pull up my stat model here in a second, which I do every week, and there's some names it spits out that make me want to throw up. I'm like, how did this guy end up here? But that's just it, and like kind of just going back to creating like the persona aspect of being like a content personality. Like we've both kind of started around the same time, have been trying to do. Do you find it, just out of curiosity, and maybe it's not a question you were expecting, so it may catch you a little off guard. Do you find it hard to know when to turn off and when to turn on the camera? Like you do a lot of cool stuff with like food reviews and all kind of fun stuff that like kind of blend it in and make all of the gambling stuff a little bit more real and a little bit more enjoyable to follow. Like if you were to go back and pull your old high school buddies, like your closest friends when you were 18, 20, do you think they would say, wow, I can't believe he's doing that now? Or would they say, of course he's doing that now? Like we knew this was him all along. Because I feel like my friends would have no inkling that they probably don't even follow most of the show. They have no idea of how it's grown. It just, I feel like I've really transitioned and I'm living like a separate life on the internet almost.
That's a really good question. I would say most of my friends would not be surprised. I think I've never been like, I guess what's the word? Not necessarily like, feel like I'm the star of the show, but I've always been pretty outspoken. I've been very social, and opinionated, but not like stubborn, and I've always been pretty good. Like I don't know a lot about one particular thing, but I know a little bit about a lot of things. And I've always been pretty good about holding a conversation. Like even in the real job, like you'd be so surprised. You have to turn it off and then turn it on. And the fucking things I talk about from like watching or paying attention to like the local news, it's like I blacked out and I'm like, whoa, how did I just do that? Yeah. And then you like come in and then you go on like the board review or you do one of these things and you're like, okay, you shut that off and then you talk about sports. No, but it is hard because you definitely get inside your head sometimes of you have an idea, you want to do it, you want to put it out there, but then you try to vet it, right? You like run it through like a couple different filters and you're like, A, is this going to bomb? Is this going to suck? B, are you going to get any like pushback? Like, is it going to really rub people the wrong way? But then what I've realized is, there's that saying, it's like you throw enough shit at the wall and someone will think it's art. That's what I've realized. Like, I'll just put stuff out there. And some things that I do, I think are great. Like I crack myself up when I think I have a joke or a take and I send it out and nobody will fucking like it. And I'll be like, well, damn, and then I'll put something out there that I don't think is good. And then that kind of takes off. So it's like, you never know what'll be a good conversation starter. But yeah, sometimes BK would always tell me this. He's like, do you ever think you tweet too much? And I'm like, fuck, I guess I never really thought about that. Like, yeah, I guess I do. But no, it's a mind fuck for sure.
I think that's the model though. Like, especially with Twitter or X, it's just like throw as much stuff out there. And I think the people who follow you get to understand that it's like a blip. It's like a bubble that pops into your brain and you've got to just get it out there. And it's not necessarily you're like have deep rooted take on all the time or so serious. It's just something that pops up and you want to get off your mind. I think the more stuff that you put out there, the more connections you can kind of form with people. Let's talk a little bit golf. Did you follow any of the Zurich at all? This man, Andrew Novak, literally, dude, gave us breadcrumbs for the whole world to track this win incoming, going third, going second in a loss in a playoff at the RBC Heritage. Yet I didn't really sniff him, and clearly I was wrong on the odds board last week. Did you follow any of that team event?
No. What's funny though? Before I started hanging out with like real serious golf purists, I did. I liked it. I didn't think of it as, oh, this is the shittiest tournament, on the PGA Tour. I'm taking the week off until again, I keep talking about BK, right? But that's like our mutual acquaintance. Yeah. He would just shit on the Zurich. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess then I shouldn't really care about it. Like, there's playoff hockey and NBA, and I'm like, I guess I'll just shift my focus elsewhere. But I used to, and no, I really did. I didn't bet on it. I didn't follow it. I take that back. I looked. I have guys, and maybe you do too. We're talking more golf now, so I'll find this out. But I've like got my guys. Like I got guys that I love, and I got guys that I want to bet on, and I'll bet on 25 times and they won't win. But if they come in the top 10 once, like I'm still there and I want to be there when they win. I got guys I fucking hate. So even if I'm not betting on the event, like I'm still peeking to see. And I got to tell you, like I've never been familiar with Novak. I did see him at the RBC Heritage. I was pulling for him a little bit, but Ben Griffin is definitely a guy I've been on quite a bit. And so I don't know if I have the right take on Ben Griffin, because sometimes when he's like out there and he's like heating up, I'm like, damn, Griffin's kind of a dog. But then it's like, no, wait, he's just like a massive dork and nobody really takes him seriously. But I wanted to be there for a Griffin win, and I'm kind of sad I didn't. Because that was a team, right? It was Griffin and Novak.
Yeah. And it's just, it's putting yourself in the situation enough times where you failed, and there's a certain degree of luck involved. Like, Novak was so close, and did he play that much better this week? I don't think so. But Ben Griffin's been really close in tournaments before. I think they had that experience with sort of notches under the belt. And then, Novak had 3 chip-ins throughout the week. He hit a shot on 17 where it was a borderline shank. Like it was a complete hook into the pin, was dead in the water, and somehow stayed up on the bank. But these are the things that just happen to kind of go your way. And you find yourself, you put your hat in the ring enough times on a Sunday afternoon, eventually things kind of break your way and go against the other guys. And especially with the guys they were up against down the stretch, they really didn't have those like moments of experience to draw on. And you saw that down the stretch as they all kind of crumbled. And those two just held strong, even though there was a point in the middle of the round where it looks pretty shaky. I probably should have watched more, because there was a moment when CBS, I don't know what happened. I don't know if they don't have a generator. They lost power, apparently. So we lost coverage for an hour and a half. So I flipped on Live Mexico. Joaquin Niemann wins. Fun course, certainly more memorable than TPC Louisiana. He wins his 5th Live Golf Championship. I believe I have that right. In the 3rd in the last 5 events. Speaking of BK, he had a tweet yesterday that kind of got me thinking, like, how do you qualify like these wins for Joaquin Niemann, and what does it does? And here's my thing, like, does it actually suck for Live that like Niemann is their guy, because Niemann goes and wins all of their tournaments and then shits the bed in the majors, like doesn't play well, and that kind of sucks for them. It reminds me of like the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, like has got the belt there, but then he like moves up to the WWE, and it's like immediately gets destroyed by all of that class of player. And they have guys, they have Rahm, they have Bryson, they have Brooks. And I feel like they would be like, if they were being honest, they would say, we wish they were winning these events, because it validates them so much more that they're winning those events. And then they're going toe to toe in the majors. Does it kind of suck for Liv that Niemann's like dominating over there?
Well, yes and no. So before Liv even became a thing, I actually have documented Joaquin Niemann 66-1 as a winner. I don't remember the tournament, a couple years ago. Riviera sounds about right. It was definitely on the West Coast. And there are guys, this is all I used to do. This is how I captained. For some reason, it worked for a couple of years. I would just watch them play golf. And I love the way to watch golf is you have a bet on a golfer, right? Yeah. And then they make it into the weekend and you have no choice but to follow it, you know, like every waking second. And so I watch these other guys that I don't even bet on. And I watch Niemann. I'm like, this guy's fucking good. So I was so happy to hit him. And all these dudes, Cam Smith, I was a big Cam Smith guy. Mm-hmm. And I like, these were my guys. And then they get taken away by Liv. And I got to tell you, I see people have two cards every week of, you know, the PGA and then Liv. I just cannot, I have never watched Liv. And I'm not even like one of those guys. So I'm not even trying to start a debate of like any particular reason to be anti-Liv. I don't even know what fucking TV channel it's on, if it's even on TV. I don't even know where to find it, even if I wanted to watch it. And so you said they got guys that got Rahm and Brooks. Rahm and Brooks have been terrible. Yeah. Anytime I watch Rahm and Brooks play, they're terrible. And Brooks was another guy I was in love with for a while. There was a golf tournament at New Jersey, in New Jersey. I don't even know. It's not even that serious. And I went there just to follow my Brooks. And now these guys take it away. So, but to answer your question, it's not good for Liv, but it doesn't totally surprise me. I'm not trying to sound like a know-it-all, but I love Neiman. It does suck for me because when these Liv guys come into PGA events that you can wager on and it matters, what happens? I bet on them because I said Cam Smith at the Masters. I had him. Cam Smith, Neiman, these guys, I always take them and they let me down. So it's annoying. But yeah, it's not good for Liv, but it's very frustrating for me too because I hate to say it. I like some of these top guys that Liv.
Yeah, we'll see where the next year takes us. Who really knows what's happening behind the scenes? I think if Liv was being honest, they want Bryson to win every week. He's their most popular player. He's won a major. He's got a current major championship that he holds. He was right there in the final group with Rory.
And what's your take? What's your take on Bryson? Are you a Bryson guy?
So I wasn't. I like Bryson now. I think that he's good for golf. I'm still not. Like, I don't know I don't know how fake he is. I don't know how real he is. I wish we would know more about the person because it seems like he's morphed into like Bryson 1.0, 2.0. Now we're on like Bryson 4.0, and it's dramatic changes in personality. I think this is the most real version of him. Here's the things that I loved. When he won the US Open and he's like in with the crowd, firing them up, slapping hands with everybody. Same stuff at the Masters too, like giving away his ball and like just engaging with the audience that's watching you. I thought was really cool. And I thought it was really polarizing because Rory, especially on that Sunday at the Masters, was very much the opposite. Like he was very much tunnel vision. I don't know what's going on around me. I'm paying attention to nothing outside of the ropes except what's in. And Bryson feeds off that. He uses it as fuels. Like he's bringing in everything within his environment and trying to use that to make him better. So it was, this dichotomy between the two players, Liv, PGA, personality wise, couldn't be much more different. A little bit of a rivalry forming now between the two where they went toe to toe and each of them now have one win. I think it's great for golf. And if he continues to play well, I think he makes a great sort of counterpart to the Rory fandom that a lot of people hold on to tightly.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people have done a 180 on Bryson, and I was never like the biggest hater. I definitely thought he was like a huge goober, and I still understand like the reservation of what kind of guy is this? Like, did he just figure it out? Like he figured out golf content, and he figured out how to be likable. But is he just playing that role? But I'll tell you, where I don't golf that often. I don't know if you're a big golfer, but maybe 5-6 times a year. But during like the peak meathead Bryson era, I'll never forget. You always just kind of hear like what people are chatting about when you go into a clubhouse to pay for your round. And where I go back in Orlando, there was a group of probably 9 or 10 old guys, and all I heard them talking about was meathead this and fucking biceps that, and they were just shitting all over him. So I was like, man, Bryson really is like public enemy number one in the golf world. But yeah, it's been an interesting. I was just curious to get your take on it because he's a fascinating figure in the sport.
Gets the people going. All right, let's do a little quick segment here, and then we'll get into the CJ Cup. So I'm going to call this credit check. A guy that it can be in anything, can be in any tour, can be for any reason, but a guy that I just want to hand some flowers to, give a little credit to from this past week. And my guy was on my betting card at 110-1. They were tied for the lead going into the 71st hole, and it was Mr. Frankie Sappin III. Don't know if you even know Frankie Sappin III, but him and Jake Knapp were on the card. Frankie Sappin is now officially on my team. Minnesota. I got a lot of Minnesotans who like this show. My old co-host is from Minnesota. This one's for you guys out there. But first Minnesotan to earn his PGA Tour card in over a decade. Kid's an athlete. Big-time football player. Blasted off the tee. Hit one 360 at sea level. Got his big chance, and he made the crucial mistake on 17. But here's where I want to give him his credit. So he hooked one into the water. They were tied for the lead. Could be absolutely crushed by it. Knapp then had to hit one onto the green, gave him like 20 feet. This moment would crumble mere mortals. He's 25, his first year on tour, and the kid made the 25-foot putt for bogey. then got them up and down on 18 to finish in third. He's got a ton of games, shot 58 on the Korn Ferry Tour last year, led the Korn Ferry in par 5 scoring and putting. Listen, if you could pick two things that you do well, if you can dominate par 5s, hit it far, and putt it well, you're going to find a home on the PGA Tour. So credit where credit's due. A couple of big moments where after just crumbling to step back up, hold your head high and finish the tournament in what was a very important week for him as he tries to get status in multiple weeks in his first year on tour. Shouts to Frankie Sapp in the third. You get my credit check this week. Degen, you got anybody for me? I didn't really give you too much time to prep for this, but anything come to mind?
That's totally okay. Yeah, I do have a guy. I'll give you Isaiah Salinda.
Love it.
Okay, so I got eyes on this guy on the Mexico Open. I didn't have a dog in the fight, but I do see somebody in your YouTube chat right now, Quantitative Eating. He was all over Pot Geeter. I don't know if you had a wager on him as well. And I was watching, and again, I enjoy watching golf because you're kind of observing, you're scouting, and what I like to do is just see guys that like they catch my eye for something. It's okay. They're good off the tee. Love their, like Joaquin was like just a killer with the irons. Yeah. And I like their mojo. You know what I mean? I like their swag. I like how they carry themselves. Salinda kind of stood out to me. And I don't know. I mean, I've heard his name get mentioned a little bit more. I did not even consider making a wager on this event, as I had told you. But when I look at the leaderboard and I see my guy up here, T8, looks like they had a shitty final round, unfortunately. But I don't know much about Kevin Velo, who carried him there.
Yeah, it was Salinda. I mean, okay, but Velo is a nobody. Salinda's the guy of that team that had to do a lot of the lifting.
He might be a guy. He's a guy that I am watching, and I will bet on 7 or 8 times in a really 90, 100, 120 to number. And then I'll say, okay, I can't take any more, and he's going to win. I'm not going to have money on him. Like, that's what Salinda's going to be.
That's your guy. Okay. Credit to Isaiah Salinda. Actually, GolfBet did a mic'd up thing with him. I don't know if you saw it at the Players with like Morikawa, Jason Day, and they randomly threw him in there and they were playing a money match. And Salinda is a shit talker, dude. He was good. He's got a ton of personality.
Love it.
He was talking shit to Jason Day the entire round. Like, I found him super funny and like personable. So I'll be on that team as well.
I did not see that, but no, I like to hear that, though. It just reaffirms my opinion on Salinda.
Good dude. Good personality. All right, TPC Craig Ranch for the CJ Cup Byron Nelson. Not the most exciting course on the PGA Tour. 2004 designed by Tom Weiskopf. A generally pretty flat, open piece of property out there in McKinney, Texas. Defining feature is the Rowlett Creek, which meanders sort of throughout the course, comes into play on 14 out of 18 holes. Recent winners, Jason Day, K.H. Lee ×2, and then Taylor Pendrith, of course, last year with his breakthrough win. One of the things to note, and I caught a little bit of a couple pods this morning as I was previewing the show. I don't think anybody's bringing this up, but the course has been lengthened pretty substantially. Now is 7,569 yards this year, which is long for a par 71. This is the longest par 71 on the PGA Tour schedule this season now. The fifth hole, which was the second easiest last year, was a 560-yard par 5. Now it's 635. The longest hole on the course. There's now a couple of par 4s that play over 500 yards. They took out the drivable par 4 on the back. They added like 160 yards to this course. And a couple of the other things, the greens are large, pure bent grass greens, but the fairways and rough are now ryegrass. So they were Zoysia last year, which aids. I think the lowest scoring courses on the PGA Tour are typically those Zoysia fairways, which give them perfect lies. They've cut the rough up another half inch this year. They've got a brand new superintendent that is running the show for the first time this year. A little guy from Stowe, Ohio. Shout out Stowe, Ohio. It was 10 minutes from where I grew up. But he's only been there 9 months. First time setting up a tournament for the pros. He's grown up the rough. He's changed the fairway grass. He's lengthened the course. I think he's sick of hearing about this tournament just being a point and shoot birdie fest. But the reality is that's likely still how it's gonna end up playing. I think 20 to 22 under par probably gets it done, weather permitting. Those are kind of my notes on TPC Craig Ranch. Anything you've like dug into this morning that you got to add there, maybe different?
Another tournament where I feel like people don't seem overly excited or care much about it, for I guess the reason being is it's just a pretty bland course and it's not overly challenging. But no, it's tough because, I'm a last minute guy with all things in life. So when it comes to my prep for golf, I'm the guy that's like Wednesday evening, cranking in 3 podcasts and reading my articles and then making my wagers and getting the worst number on every golfer possible. Sepp was 75-1. Well, I like him at 35-1. But no, it's funny. I always kind of go back and I look at a tournament and I try to tell myself, oh, did I hit a winner here? And if I did, what was I thinking? I try to get back into that mind frame. I truly can't remember. Did Sungjae Im win here?
No.
Okay. So BK was fucking with me. I listen, I got really nothing in terms of knowledge on the course, but you set it up really well.
Yeah, just fire at the flag tips, foot on the gas the entire time. The TPC course. It's I'll pull up my stat model now from the good folks over at BetSperts that I built. You can get mine each and every week here. You can build your own models. I think that it's the best modeling software ever created for golf and trying to create stuff like this. If you don't feel like doing yours, you can look at mine. There are tons of expert rankings in here. PGA touts in there, Andy Lack, Matt Vincenzi, Ryan Noonan, Ron Close, Steve Shermer, Steve Hennessy. Like all the boys are in there creating models. You can steal any of their ideas. Here's who I got. And this is where I said things get a little funky and wacky, but Richard Rico Hoey, number 1 above Scottie Scheffler by stat model. I'm doing something wrong here, but I leaned heavily on approach and off the tee play. Taylor Pendrith, defending champion, is number 3. Keith Mitchell, who's actually withdrawn, but was in the field at the time that I made this model, is 4th. Lee Hodges, Alejandro Tosti, Rio Hitsutuni. I always get that messed up. Ben Griffin, Kevin Yu, Siwoo Kim round out my top 10. Looked a little bit of birdie or better percentage, particularly on easy course setups. Guys who dominate when the scoring conditions get really easy. Total driving, all that good stuff. My model's there. The other guys' model's there who probably won't have Rico Hoey number 1 in their model, so you may want to look at theirs first, but that's what we got. Promo code TOURPICKS, all caps, 25% off any sub over at BetSperts if you want to build your own. What do you think? Rico Hoey? You're not in on Hoey, are you?
No, not necessarily. I have made a wager on Hoey this year, and that was the first time. He's not been a guy that I've ever tried to attack multiple times, but no, I think I'm out on Rico Hoey. So I'll let you. You said he's number 1 in your model ahead of
Yeah,
Scheffler?
he's number 1. It's like he's hitting so many fairways, so I put a lot of off the tee and total driving in it, and he's just like shooting way up. I don't think that he has enough registered rounds at some of those other parts as well. There's weird things like this when you put a stat model. You just got to plug your nose and ignore some of the noise.
Well, that's a guy who, when I was listening to BK's show, I think he went live at 5:30. I don't remember the guest that he had on, but that is somebody that he brought up was Toasty. He brought up Toasty. So it sounds like Toasty.
Time, yeah.
Listen, model. I don't know if you've hit outrights this year, and if so, how many, but I feel like the model community has actually done quite well. Like everyone was on Min Woo. There was somebody else that everybody was on, but this is certainly, I'm like the contrarian type of bettor, right? So I always get a little bit nervous if a lot of people are on the same guy. I feel like it never really, bodes well, but it's been a different type of year. Like these guys that get a little popular. So I wouldn't necessarily be scared off, but I've already Toasty. That's your Brian's show and this show. That's really it so far right now for prep. And I've heard Toasty
2 times Toasty.
2 for 2 on Toasty.
Although Kyle, we got to respect Kyle's opinions. He says Rico Hoey, not Toasty. So Kyle's on Team Hoey. Let's get to the board and break down some guys because it feels to me, Degen, like it's Scottie Scheffler and the rest of the world. He is +3 to 1 is the top price on Scheffler. Right behind him, you have Spieth, Im, On, Burns, Pendy, Siwoo Kim there at 30s. Let's just start with Scotty. Can you are we like spoiled brats when it comes to golf betting that we like turn our nose up at 3-1 odds and we're like, I would never bet that. Those are horrible odds. It's terrible value, right? But you get 3-1 in an NFL game and you hit it, plus 300 on an underdog to win, and you're thrilled about that. It made your Sunday if you can hit that in the NFL. 3-1 are you a guy that goes there or is considering it at the top and just making a single bullet Scotty week?
It's a great question, because it's exactly what I tell myself sometimes when I see these awful numbers. And I literally did this today with Aaron Judge to hit a home run. It was like plus 175, and it's just outrageous but I told myself, I'm like, well, that's, what, a 5-point underdog on the money line and in like an NBA game or something. Like, I would have no problem taking that if I really liked it. So I got no qualms. If anybody, like, I don't judge. A winner is a winner is a winner. So if you want to take Scotty, I think Scotty probably is going to win this by 4 or 5 strokes. If I could take Scotty, with a spread, a stroke spread, I'd probably consider doing it.
That's I should offer that.
I know. I guess people always tell me that I just don't appreciate greatness, because I feel like every time Scotty is up there running away with it, it's no fun and I don't enjoy it. But then I have to remind myself, well, what if I was living and betting and in my, prime when Tiger was running away with these events? Would I be shitting on Tiger? Probably not. Yeah. But let's be honest. If there is ever an event for him to run away with it, because he hasn't done it in what feels like an eternity, it's probably going to be this one, right?
Yeah, he's in a drought. He's back in Texas. He's playing awesome. He's just not winning. And when you look at the odds relative, so I looked at some of the past events this year because I'm like 3-1 seems like a crazy price. But this field sucks, dude. Spieth hasn't won in 3 years. Sung Jae Im's won like once in the last 5. Ben On's never won. Sam Burns is in the trash. Taylor Pendrith has 1 career win. But these are the numbers Scottie Scheffler was entering tournaments at so far this year. 5-1 to win the Genesis. Plus 350. He was barely had better odds than this to win the Arnold Palmer Invitational, which was a signature field with Rory and everyone playing that week. He was 5-1 to win the Players, 4.5-1 to win Houston, 4.5-1 to win the Masters. Like, this field is nothing compared to those. And I've heard this from people, and I agree to an extent, where they're like, the problem is you get these birdie fest courses and it neutralizes some of the advantage that Scottie Scheffler may have, meaning that he's incredible with a long iron. You increase the difficulty level when you put it on pro and the settings, and all of a sudden he's able to accentuate and exacerbate how good he is compared relatively to the field. I kind of get that, but I'm also saying is Rory's not in this field. Morikawa is not in this field. Ludwig's not in this field. The best players playing right now in professional golf are not in this field. I think he's more likely to win this event against this field, an inferior competition, than he is those other events.
I could not agree with you more.
Okay.
It's unfortunate, but it's also like, it's just the reality of this. If you were to tell me, if you were to just, let's say, give me a coupon to bet on this for $500, and you could just put it on one golfer, or you can spread it out amongst 7 golfers, I'm taking that free $500 coupon. I'm putting it right on Scottie Scheffler, and I'm feeling fucking great about it. But I'm not going to do that with my own money. I'd rather just pass, or try to get cute with a toasty or 2.
Yeah, and I think, look, if people are going to talk card construction, I think even if you do bet Scotty, you can get cute with a toasty or 2. You can get him at 80, 90-1, maybe sprinkle a couple of those guys. This next range is intriguing to me, right? Because, okay, Spieth, he's playing better. He's got 3 consecutive top 20s coming into this event, which he hasn't done in 2 years leading into an event. He's got it rolling. It's Spieth in Texas. I feel like you're going to get on Scottie Scheffler and saying that there's no value in that price. To me, there's never any value in betting Jordan Spieth. He does not win enough anymore. You're paying for past accomplishments and popularity there. Yeah. So I'm not in on Spieth. Sung Jae's frankly been not good all year. His approach play is completely off. Ben has one top 10 in his last 10 starts. I looked at all these guys' last 10 starts, right? The only guy who has 3 top 10s is the guy who's defending champion, and he's 30-1, and it's Taylor Pendrith. He's got 3 top 20s, 3 top 10s. He just finished 5th in Houston about a month ago. He is the longest hitter by a decent margin in this bunch. And the problem that Taylor Pendrith had in the beginning half of the season that he was trying to, dominate off the tee to make up for, which he's been the second best player off the tee on the PGA Tour all season long, is had an ice cold putter. He's 118th in putting this season. That's not really his forte and his makeup as a player. Last year, he was the 5th best putter on the PGA Tour. He's starting to turn that around from what I've seen. Gain strokes putting in 3 out of the last 4. I think that he's due for a regression back in a positive way in terms of putting in the second half of the season. Continues to dominate off the tee. And if I'm going to pick out the most value in this range, I think it's defending champ. I don't love betting on guys to repeat events, but it's happened before. It's happened in Texas. It's happened at this event. KH Lee did it in 2022, 2023. Pendrith at 30-1 feels like a decent number.
That was a phenomenal sell job. I'm a big Pendrith guy. Unfortunately, again, he was one of those dudes I was betting at a really high number. He started to get a little bit better. Wasn't on him with his only win. The only guy I can think of that I've hit successfully in back-to-back tournaments was Scottie Scheffler at Waste Management. Unfortunately, I can't go back to a previous winner when Scottie's in the field. For whatever reason, it's probably silly, but you make a really good point. I like the positive regression angle on the putter. I'm out, but I wouldn't talk you off of it.
Okay, right below there, Siwoo Kim's in better form. I think that the lengthening of the course, in my opinion, kind of hurts Siwoo Kim a little bit here. I think he finished 8th at the Heritage coming in, but another guy who typically plays well in Texas is Siwoo. You get Steven Yeager, won the Houston Open, big power hitter, Aaron Judge type guy, picked up a ton of speed. 40-1 feels like a decent price on him. You get Ben Griffin there at 40-1 is a decent number. Mackenzie Hughes at 45. He got absolutely steamed today. For me, I still haven't made the decision at the top on single bullet Scottie. If I can, I don't know. It's crazy to want more out of that number, but if it floats a little bit, or I can, maybe the boys down at Hard Rock Sportsbook send me one of them 20% odds boost or something like that, and I can pump it up to plus 360. I might sell myself on it. I'm probably, if I don't do that, thinking Pendrith, Yeager, maybe Hughes is like a 3-pack there in the 30 to 40 range. Anyone here that has your eye?
Mac Hughes, baby.
Okay,
that's my guy. So we were talking a little bit, and I'm not in the know, but I like hearing about the guys that get nuked on the offshore sites. And I think you mentioned that Mackenzie Hughes might have been one. So on a typical, for my betting strategy, I'm always late to the party and I'll get the worst number. I was just looking at guys on the odds board, and what I usually do is I scroll down and I always kind of look, and it's like the first name that jumps out to me. And I go, interesting. Why is this guy getting what feels like respect in the market? And then I'll take that and I'll go from there. So Mackenzie Hughes was one guy. I won't take you all the way down on the board, but him and Seamus Power at 75-1 kind of stood out to me. So I went to Mackenzie and I started looking at his finishes recently. The guy's been playing good golf.
Yeah,
he's been playing good golf. So if I'm gonna go, if I'm gonna bet on guys in a field like this with a Scottie Scheffler at fucking plus 280. I think I might just go straight for some people in the 40s and 50s, to get me started, and then 1, 2, maybe 3 other long shots for a very small risk. And I think Mackenzie Hughes, I'm with you on Jordan Spieth. It's not a good bet. It's not a good bet. If he wins, whatever. Sung Jae was kind of piquing my interest, but I'm good on Sung Jae. I think Mackenzie Hughes is going to be the first button I press at whatever he ends up being, but I think he's 45-1 on what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, the thing with Sung Jae, and I know the top 5 at the Masters, a lot of people are going to look to. For me, it's I want to see everyone has their like premier skill set that they can kind of lean on. And for Sung J M, that has always been elite, world-class approach iron play. When that part of his game's struggling and he's just relying and he's gaining 5-6 strokes, chipping and putting every week, it's like if your core pillar of your game is not firing at the moment, I don't really want to be on you. Plus, Sungjae went and played on the Korean tour last week and missed the cut over in Korea, and now he's got to come back to Texas from a missed cut in Korea. Don't love that for Sungjae M. So I'm out there. Matt Hughes, I love. Same with you. It's hard for me. I shouldn't be this like hoity-toity about I missed the best number because he is playing really good golf. Will Zalatoris is someone that I've been losing money on about 12 months now since I thought he was going to come back and play really well. I mean, this is a crazy 50-1 in this field for Will Zalatoris. Like, should be the second on the odds board based on talent. But he's playing that poorly, but it could be talked into it. The Højgaard brothers, as our boy Aussie golfer says, finished second last week at the Zurich. Here's the thing. Here's what you got to know about the Højgaard brothers. They are a package deal. Listen, Aussie, I've talked to my guy Matt Gannon about this. You have no idea which one of them is ever going to play well. If you bet one, you have to bet both. That's the only rule of the Højgaard brothers. Rasmus is 50-1. If you like Rasmus, you have to bet Nikolai 66-1 because the one that always like rates out better and you think is in form and is playing well shits the bed, misses the cut. The other brother comes out of nowhere in top 5. So rule number one that I found about the Højgaards, you take one, you got to make it a package deal on the boys.
I love that rule because I'm always I'm always worried about like picking the wrong guy. Like today in baseball, I picked the wrong fucking left-handed batter for the Mets to hit a home run. It was never Juan Soto. It was always Brandon Nimmo. So it's like, you don't want to pick the wrong one. It'll eat you up. Go ahead.
All right, long shot range. There's a ton of guys here. I like Toasty, who we talked about earlier. I bet Toasty. I bet Gary Woodland at 90-1. I'm such a sucker for Gary Woodland. I was when Gary Woodland almost did that and finished second in Houston, like it was like an emotional moment for me because I know what he's been through from the full swing doc to the brain surgery and his wife and his kids. And I have kids around the same age as Gary Woodland. So I'm like, knowing what he went through and then to see his like perform in that moment and not be afraid when he had these like fear sensors in his brain and to see him like be able to show his young kids like dad's on the hunt. Basically, I'm not scared anymore. Like dad's trying to get it right now was like a really cool moment for me. So I'm going to back Gary at 90 for rooting interest. I'm going to back Toasty at 90 for some statistical data and some good stuff that I've seen in Texas on wide open courses. Any bombs that got your eye or you might want to throw some money at to lose?
Yes, but I do just want to touch on two guys that aren't quite all the way down on the board. Yeah. Jake Knapp is going to be too popular this week, isn't he?
Very.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Jacob Bridgman is catching my eye a little bit, but I don't know that I want to go with a guy at 45 and a guy at 50. Like I kind of want to jump further down the board. And again, just talking about those random names where I'm like, why the hell is this guy getting respect? Is there a reason that you could give me that Ryan Gerard is 65-1? Like, has this guy been playing pretty good golf that I don't know about?
Yeah, he has. He's been like dominating a lot of Korn Ferry stuff, a lot of opposite field stuff. Like the one week they had, I think the API, and then they played in like the Dominican or something. He finished second. The numbers are really good. Like his iron play has been awesome. He's pretty consistent, played decent at the Heritage. He's not going to win this tournament at 65-1. He's not ready to win. He's like, I would look for Gerard and maybe like a top 20 placement type market. I don't think he's a guy that's ready to step into a PGA Tour event with Scottie Scheffler in it and win.
So someone that I've watched and I told myself I am so out on him because I feel like he's just got loser oozing from him. Alex Smalley.
Oh,
is he a guy now? Because there's always those limp dicks that can win limp dick events. Is he a guy that just can come out of nowhere? Because I almost talked myself into him, but I looked at his recent finishes and I'm like, no, I'm just not going to do it.
I don't think so. Gutless. Okay. He's too gutless for me. I think I had him in Mexico and he was so bad down the back 9 at Mexico when he was in the lead there. That's why I'm like, look, Woodland's a U.S. Open winner. He's won it multiple times on the PGA Tour. He knows somewhere inside that he can do it. And Toasty just has this, like, I don't give a fuck attitude that I also, like, love that. I think Smalley just gets in his head way too often. I don't think he can do it.
So I guess it's not super long shot, but it's getting there at 80-1 at what I'm looking at. I'm kind of into Sam Stevens. And I don't know how you feel about Sam Stevens, but I was looking at driving distance. I was kind of impressed that he was up there, not by much, but ranked just ahead of Sam Burns off the tee. I didn't know. Wow. I mean, I didn't know that he had that in his bag. I'm a little bit of a Sam Stevens guy, so I was thinking about putting him on there at 80-1.
I don't have a great take on Stevens. I don't mind it. I'd have to look more into his recent form, but yeah, it's 80-1. I mean, you can talk me into anyone at that. So apparently you have a problem with Sam Stevens, according to your boy.
I do. Yeah, I have a little bit of a Sam Stevens problem, but I will say this. He's been someone I've talked about betting a lot, and I've only actually bet him like half as many times as I talk about betting him. So I feel like in my brain, I've saved money. So yes. I have like these free, like these free units I could still throw at him. So Sam Stevens, okay. I'm not going to go there with Ryan Gerard. And it sounds like you're not an Alex Smalley guy, so that makes that easy. And then there was one more guy that was catching my eye. Oh no. People keep talking to me about Valimaki because I took him first round leader at RBC, and I think he was 4 under through 5 or something. And everybody was like coming in my stream at the time because it was early in the morning, like Degen Valimaki, he's hot. And then he just shit his pants on the back 9. I'm good on Valimaki. Are you gonna get involved? Because I feel like he's already starting to get some hype this weekend.
He's going to be up there in the tipster reports, I think. I mean, a good price. I think there's people that got him at like 200-1 this morning. I'll pull up his little player profile here, but big boy. Look at that. Thick boy, Valimaki. Yeah, got a nice look to him. We like to root for. I like my golfers to be a little bit out of shape. You know, I saw Neil Shipley win. And I was a big Shipley guy. I was calling him the brick ship house. He went like full vegan and lost all this weight. I'm like, part of your personality was being a big guy. Valimaki still got that. Look at that. T18, T12, 4th at the Houston Open. Guys kind of been dominant on approach, putting it pretty well. I don't know. I don't hate it. The numbers are going to love him, and I think that a lot of people will get there, and it's still 110-1 is a decent price. Like I can't say that's a bad bet on a guy who's the second best approach player in the field over the last 24 rounds, and you're getting triple digits on him. Take a chance.
So the last guy that I can really bring up with any sort of actual opinion is someone that I have bet on quite a bit. And unfortunately, the last time I went on a golf podcast was the time I decided to try to like sharpen up a little bit. And I'm like, okay, maybe I won't just give this idiot as a first round leader, even though I always have a Sam Ryder first round leader ticket in my back pocket. I've probably had it about 40 times in my, 5 to 6 year golf betting career. And he just did it in was it the Valero?
Yeah, he does it a lot. I don't even know what tournament, but I know he's done it this year.
He did. He was 9 under and he was the first round leader and I didn't have it. And so now I feel like it's only right to go back to Sam Ryder in some way, shape or form. Whether it's first round leader or an outright, whatever he is, like 100-1 or something. But I'm oddly, he's 120. He's right behind Bo Hossler. I haven't heard anybody talk about him at all lately. But yeah, I might get involved with Sam Ryder too.
Here's an interesting stat profile. So I'm looking at this guy 125-1, and I've just got a nice affinity for him. I've hit both of his PGA Tour wins. Love me a little bit of Cameron Davis. He's been pretty bad. Number 1 in birdie or better rate. Look at all these missed cuts, but then T5 at Pebble, T13 at the Heritage. I don't know. This feels like a course. Obviously, he's really struggling off the tee, and you've got 40-yard wide landing strip fairways that hopefully he can hit, and plays really well on courses where I think you can attack and try to make a lot of birdies. I don't know, 125 to 1. I might talk myself around to him. He's bagged me a couple of dollars in his day, so I owe it to him at the very least.
Do you have any interest in Patrick Rogers or
No.
Jesper Svensson? Okay.
I can't do Patrick Rogers. There's a couple of guys. I don't know. Patrick Rogers. The other one, I'd never bet Mav McNeil. There's just a couple, you got your guys that you just never bet. He's one of them for me.
Okay, so here's two guys that I used to go to all the time, convincing myself they were good at golf. Austin Eckroat and Eric Cole. So Eckroat's down here at 90 to 1. Like, I don't know where Cole is. Is Cole even playing this week? Yeah, he is. He's 70 to 1. Yeah. Can either of these guys muck it up at the top or no?
Neither one of them's form is particularly great. Eckroat got the win at the Cognizant. I was there for that win. That one kind of came out of nowhere.
That's right. I remember that. FOMO.
Yeah, flashes it from time to time. Eric Cole almost won the Cognizant before. Maybe Eric Cole's not a terrible bet. I don't know. I kind of just, you look at this part of the board and you get attracted to your guys and everyone else, you just see right through.
Yes. Yeah. Is Lee Hodges good at golf?
Lee Hodges rated out really good in my model.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think I might add him. From. I haven't heard a peep of Lee Hodges.
Where is it? Where's my thing at?
It's only Monday night, though. I'm going to keep my ears to the streets.
Yeah, keep your ears to the street on Lee Hodges. Yeah. I don't know. He had a couple of really good approach weeks there for a while, and then everyone got on him, and he kind of cooled. I do agree with you that Jake Knapp is a complete trap this week. My boy Frankie Sappin carried Jake Knapp with his putting, and Knapp chunking multiple chips down the stretch did not help. I'm out, and he's super popular at 66 to 1, but he's shown the ability. He's been close. He almost have 2 PGA Tour wins. He gagged away the Cognizant. He was there in the end at the Players. Makes a ton of birdies when he can get it going, but he makes really bad, like, elementary level decisions when he gets in contention of like when to just take your medicine and stupid stuff like that, trying to take too much on. So until he can kind of prove to me that he's past beating himself, I'm not going to bet him, especially when everyone's steaming him.
I have one more guy that I'd love to get your thoughts on.
Let it rip.
As I am just looking. So kind of just to take it all back, right? Because we've been going, bouncing around a little bit, but at the top of the leaderboard and just making my way down, Mackenzie Hughes will probably be my guy at 45 to 1. I did throw out the name Jacob Bridgman, was kind of looking at me funny, but like, the popular names up here, like a Tom Kim or a Zalatoris, Sam Burns, Ben On, like I'm okay passing on them as we scroll down. But again, there's just always these names that stand out to me, and I'm like, huh. And I start to kind of do my digging, and I haven't even thought about this, but as I'm making another round, I would love to just know, does Taylor Moore have a shot of being a serious golfer this weekend?
So I really liked Taylor Moore for a while. What's his odds?
I'm seeing him right after, or same number as Tom Kim and Jake Knapp at 60 to 1. And that's why I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, Tom Kim is just popular by name. Jake Knapp is popular because people actually probably like his game and the course fit here. And Taylor Moore is right there at 60 to 1. And I haven't, I don't know if he's going to be popular or not. And that's not the only reason I would bet him, but I'm just wondering if there might be something there with a guy that, maybe everybody's sleeping on this week.
Yeah, pretty good. Here's where he's at in my model: 17th, 8th off the tee. Pretty decent in total driving, bleeding a little bit there on approach. He's not bad. This is what was weird about Taylor Moore for me. And I noticed this last week because I thought about him when he was going to play the Zurich. He was with Wyndham Clark. They don't have that loaded in here. But look at this. He was playing awesome, like top 10 at Phoenix, played pretty good through Florida, missed the cut at the Valspar. And then what the hell happened? His last start was March 22nd, a month ago. Like, I don't know. He's missed 5 straight weeks. I guess he did just play the Zurich. But for me, especially if you're a player like Taylor Moore, like, you need to just ride this form when you're in it. It's like these guys like Andrew Novak. They're not good enough players to sustain like high level play for 12 straight months. When you're on this like 2-month run, play every week. Like it's thank God Andrew Novak didn't like, oh, it was a grueling. I'm disappointed in a playoff loss at the RBC Heritage. JT drains a long one on me. I'm out for the Zurich. I don't want to go play in this team event. He got his win. You know, a win is a win. It's a guaranteed tour card for 2 years. It's a ton of FedEx Cup points. It's a ton of money. It's getting that monkey off your back. That's what was kind of perplexing to me, that why he wasn't playing golf through any of the previous Texas events or in the lead up to the majors. I get there were some signature events in there, but I didn't know if it was injury related, which is what kind of made me pause on Taylor Moore.
Out on Taylor Moore. Thank you for taking the time for that. So, yeah, my card is going to be disgusting. It's just going to be loaded with fucking losers and one big giant donation for Scottie Scheffler to just take the fun out of this event. I don't know, maybe by like Friday late afternoon, as he just goes like birdie, 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 and takes a 5-shot lead into the weekend. But do you do placement bets, or are you more of just an outright guy?
Yeah, I do some on the longer guys. I put my card out there on Twitter, which is just basically my outright bets, but I do a lot of matchups. I do some placements each and every week. The bigger events, I tend to dabble a little bit more, like the Masters did pretty well in some of those placements. But for the most part, my season is going to make or break on trying to hit 5 or 6 outrights throughout the year.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, that's a perfect number. Yeah, 5, 6 outrights in a year and you're good. And honestly, I mean, what if you hit, depending on the numbers, if you hit like 2 to 3, you're probably breaking even. You know, 5 to 6, you've got some money in your pocket. And then if you have like a BK type year last year, I mean, you're going to buy a new set of golf clubs and maybe a nice golf trip somewhere. So yeah, I've only got one under my belt this year. It does not feel good at all. Just my lovely Sep somewhere. I don't even know where he hit.
Yeah, I was on Sep. Amex. Right?
Amex, that's right. It's like
Amex
35, 40. I mean, who knows before he got nuked offshore, I'm sure. But yeah, so what are you what's your final card looking like, I guess?
I'm going to wait. I do the show on Monday just to kind of talk through some stuff. I'm really, and I haven't done it all year, probably gone inside betting a guy inside 10 to 1. I'm considering Scottie. I think the rest of this field sucks. I think Spieth is overrated right now. I think Sungjae is overrated. And if you rule out those two guys, am I really that scared of Ben On and Taylor Pendrith? No. I think Sam Burns is in terrible form. I think I'm like talking myself into Scottie, but it just makes weird. Like as the week goes on, I'm like, oh, I think Steven Yeager's got a decent shot to win this thing. And I get into Matt Hughes, and then I have a couple of guys in the 40s that I don't have room for Scottie anymore. So we'll see where that lands. What else do you got planned for this? Where do you put your picks? Do you got like a website? Do you got a Discord? Where do you usually like release your golf stuff?
I do have a Discord. I don't really make a I guess I don't like make it any type of exclusive by any means. And it kind of all just comes to me. I usually talk golf on my show on Wednesday. BK usually comes on, and then I don't know if this is a serious enough tournament for him to grace me with his presence. So I guess I'll have to find out. But no, I usually like Wednesday evening, maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock, right when I'm about to brush my teeth and get into bed. Like the last 2 to 3 guys will hit me. And that method hasn't been working as of late, obviously. So I need to switch some stuff up, but I'll find a stupid picture of the course and just tweet it or whatnot. So I think I'm going to keep it fairly tight because I'm kind of with you. Like if I see you tweet that you're just going single bullet on Scottie Scheffler, I'm going to think that you're a really smart guy. But for what you're doing this week, and then it'll probably hopefully make me be less of an idiot. And so I'll only just have like 3 guys on my card.
Who won the NFL draft?
Who won the NFL draft? Shit,
Who's your team? Giants, Jets?
I'm a Bucks fan.
Bucks fan. Okay. Florida guy.
And I think the Bucks did very well. I think the Giants did well. I mean, I don't know. Are you a New York guy?
No, I live in Florida, South Florida now, but I'm an Ohio guy, so I'm a Browns fan. Just kick me while I'm down. Listen, I could spin it. I think a lot has yet to be seen. I think that we fleeced Jacksonville. I think we crushed them on that trade, right?
So after day one, I did a winners and losers list, and I think I did the Browns were winners because I really like Mason Graham. And
just picks. I don't know.
Yeah. What I like about the Browns is they know like one guy isn't going to fix all their problems. They have multiple problems. And so I like that I'm always a big fan of teams that acquire assets, like bad teams that acquire assets. But the problem with the Browns is like, you can't trust that they're going to freaking do the right thing with them. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, I think that I saw Mel Kiper. That was like the only team that he gave an A+ to, which was hilarious, just because he's like a big Shador fan.
Was in his bag, man. He was on the verge of like really, really like getting like either fired or canceled or something. But Kiper was on one.
Yeah, I have the winners. Oh, I thought that the Falcons did fairly well. The Steelers, the Ravens, the Eagles, the Colts, and the Browns. Those are my teams that I think did the best of the draft.
In the bunch. Good stuff, man. I don't want to keep you any longer. Thank you for being a part of this show. I appreciate you. Everyone go out and follow the Degen Weekly on Twitter if you want coverage across all the major sports. Good stuff, man. Thanks for making the time. We will catch up with you again soon. If BK ever calls out on the Wednesday show and you need another guy to like hop in on his lunch break, you got my number. So
I'm so down. You're going to regret that you put that out there because I'll probably take you up on it. Joe, it was a pleasure. I appreciate you reaching out to me, and great job. Again, your appearance on BK's pod was excellent. I thought you're a great guy to listen to talk about golf. So appreciate it. Appreciate you having me. Thank you, everybody, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, dude. Later. All right. Good chat this week. Thank you all for being a part of the show. Thank you for keeping the chat lively. As I mentioned, to start the program, if you want to support the program, really put some work into these, okay? Fresh T-shirts, decent price. You can buy them right there. It ships directly to you in like 3 to 4 days. Best way to support the program. As always, thank you to the people at BetSperts. Thank you to the people over at Rotoballer PGA, as always, for being the presenting sponsor of this show each and every week. Preferred Lines Podcast will be back live next Monday, covering a brand new tournament for the Truist Championship as we lead into major season. I kind of teased it earlier, but I've honestly got maybe the biggest announcement in the history of this show coming in 2 to 3 weeks. Stay tuned. I'm going to leak some teasers out there. You guys are the absolute best for checking out the program. Like, sub, retweet, tell a friend. Buy a shirt, shake a hand, tell someone you love them. Have a great night. Appreciate you once again. Good luck this week betting the CJ Cup. It's Scottie versus the world. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.